Hey everyone, today we're working on something super nostalgic and seriously adorable, the Youtooz Sackboy figurine. He's got all the charm of a Little Big Planet packed into one tiny little dude, and I'm very excited because we're going to be building him his very own cardboard pod. If you remember from the game, Sackboy traveled around in this little cardboard spaceship pod thing. It was kind of his cozy little home base between levels. So today we're going to be recreating that and building him a pod that you can hang in your room, your office, or wherever you want your Sackboy to hang out. A reminder, if you haven't already, Sackboy is up for pre-order right now on the Youtooz site, so check him out after the video. To get started, you'll need stencils. I found mine from a YouTuber named Tassarus. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but basically he based them off of an online 3D model he found and actually made them 2D and printable. Unfortunately, they were a little too small for our Sackboy, so I was able to scale them up to fit while still keeping them printable on a standard home printer. Link to the scaled version can be found in the description below. Once printed, you'll notice some of the bigger pieces are split across multiple pages. Just tape those together once they're cut out. One of the pieces needs to fit a full-sized PlayStation controller, so make sure you measure and adjust the holes accordingly, like I'm doing here. The original stencils were also made for a mini controller, but we're gonna go full scale here because our Sackboy is also to scale. Some shapes you'll need to duplicate, like 4 of the same piece, so labeling them will definitely help you keep track when we get into the assembling part of the project. Then grab a large piece of sturdy cardboard and start tracing everything out. If your circular pieces are having difficulty staying down while you trace them, you can just tape them down with a bit of Scotch tape and they won't shift while you trace. If you're using a duplicate piece and tracing multiple times, the tape should be weak enough for you to remove it and replace it on the cardboard without leaving any marks. Okay, now we're gonna cut out the cardboard. This is really the grind part of the project. It's gonna take you a couple hours, I'm sure. But it helps to cut your big cardboard sheet into smaller, more manageable chunks first. Make sure you're using a really sharp blade, box cutters for long lines, crafting knives for details. Dull blades and frayed edges will be very regretful, and I don't even suggest using scissors for this other than to trim little bits. I myself went through several blades, so keep spares nearby, and remember to label lightly in pencil before you start cutting out. Once all of your pieces are cut out, it's go time. If you've labeled everything earlier, this part should be really easy. You can also scrub back to around 38 seconds in the video to see the finished pod and use it as a visual guide. Heads up, you might need to tweak some parts. For example, I found the window pieces were a bit too tall, so I trimmed them about an inch off. I also added a paper tube to the top so I could string it up and hang it later. Okay, this is definitely the fun part, which is decorating. I picked up some stickers that matched the quirky, playful Little Big Planet aesthetic and used them to liven up the inside of the pod. These are the ones that I ended up going with. I felt that they gave that nostalgic 2008 Little Big Planet feeling, and I just stuck them randomly inside the pod, as I would have when I played this game. To create a bit more ambiance, I also cut out some tiny metallic stars to hang around the pod, kind of like Little Big Planet's dreamy outer space aesthetic. I also threw in some fairy lights just for a cozy glow. And here's the finished pod. I think it turned out awesome. If I could do one thing differently though, I'd probably add a little more around the pod, maybe a moon, a couple of planets. But overall, I love how it came out. If you want to give your own Sackboy a cozy little home like this, don't forget he's available for pre-order right now on the Youtooz website. There are so many creative crafting ideas you can pull from Little Big Planet, and I'd love to see what you come up with for your very own Youtooz Sackboy. Tag us if you make one, and we would love to see all of your creations.